published in the journals. Some are the primary research articles, some are the review articles, and the case studies articles. So different varieties of articles you might have come across. Every article writing requires a different set of norms or the principles, because every article is very unique in its identity, in its kind, in its presentation. Hence, it is very essential to understand what kind of article we are going to write. So based on the selection of the article, we have to present our views in a very systematic manner in relation to that particular article. So research article, naturally, some research to be done, and based on the findings or based on the data, if you want to say something, if you want to publish something, means naturally we have to write the articles, and we call them as the research article. Why the articles are very important at present moment? Yes, it is something like that. If you just view this picture, you will understand that there is a big blow between it, or wind, but you cannot hear it, which means if something is going on, something is deliberately telling by somebody, means it should be available to all, it should be noticed by all, then only people will recognize.
ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಹಾಂ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ 2 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಓಕೆ 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 ಸರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಓಕೆ.
Give the information to the entire world. It is very essential for all the researchers to publish. And there are a number of reasons for the research papers. They play a very important role. Nowadays, we are all talking about publish or perish. If you are not publishing anything in your field, in your area, or whatever research work you are carrying out, definitely people will not be knowing anything about you. So hence, it is very essential to say something about yourself, your research work, so that people will recognize, people will identify you in your fields. That's the first thing. When you write something, you have to think. So thinking is very important process in writing. So good writing requires good thinking. So thinking must be there with the teacher, with the researcher, so that they can think well, they can think good, and present those views in the research articles. And when you publish more papers, naturally your visibility will be increased in the arena, in the fraternity. And good papers will definitely build your reputation. People start recognizing you, recognizing your writing work, recognizing your research work based on the papers which you are going to publish. And it's the best way to communicate something. It's the best way to exchange your ideas to the entire world. You may be having good ideas, but unless you present it, unless you publish it in the form of articles, people will not come to know, or the stakeholders of education will not come to know what are the views of an individual in that particular area or area. And sometimes pressures are also there from the higher authorities to publish at least few articles a year. So these are all the important elements which we must consider for publishing the research works or research papers. Then, as I was mentioning, that there are types of papers like argumentative research papers, where you can justify something, where you provide the evidences so that you can augment, you can provide your argument in that paper. Such papers are called argumentative research papers. Analytical research papers, you analyze, explore, and evaluate something, and you present it in the form of an article, that is analytical research paper. Informative articles, just arranging the aspects around definition, or classifying something, or demonstrating something, or finding out the differences between two different aspects. So presenting it in the form of article, that will be called as informative article. And there are some more articles like research paper. Research papers can be written on two different forms. One is the qualitative research papers, and the other is quantitative research papers. If you're
ಹಲೋ ಹಾಂ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳ್ರಿ. ಹಾಂ ಮಂಗಳವಾರ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ 12 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರು ಡೆಸಿಗ್ನೇಷನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಾನು ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಗೂಗಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ರಿ. ಅವು ಮುಗೀತು, ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಮುಗೀತೆ. ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಆಯಿತು. 5ನೇ ತಾರೀಕಿಂದ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ರಿ. ಫಾರ್ಮೇ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೆ. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ರಿ. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ರಿ. ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಪಿ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಅದನ್ನು. ಓಕೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಸದು ನೀವು ತೊಗೊಳ್ರಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ
now is abstract is a major part of a research paper. So most of the time, the organizers, the program organizers, it may be a seminar or a conference, they may ask you to submit your abstract in probably 200 to 250 words or 300 words before the complete paper. When they may presume or they may feel that the paper may be very good based on the abstract. If they assess, naturally you will be allowed to submit your papers. So abstract is very important element in the paper. The abstract will give you the entire idea of research paper. What you are going to present in the research paper will be there in the abstract. And naturally, it depends on the organizers. They may ask you to present the abstract in 200 words, some may ask you in 250 words, and some may ask you in 300 words. Even the research journals as well, the academic journals also, they may ask you to present your abstract in a stipulated words number, as we can say. And abstract can also be called as a window display, just like an advertisement, which will give an exact idea of the entire paper. And it is a best opportunity for a paper writer, as we can say, or the author, to present the exact views of the papers in the abstract, so that the people can understand very easily what the entire article is all about. So that is what the window display we can say, or else we can call it as the advertisement of your paper, which you are going to submit or publish in a particular journal. And Perry et al. In 2003 has recommended 7 important elements of abstract, which means if you consider a good abstract means that should comprise 7 important elements. Let me begin with the first one. That is, the very important aspect of abstract is always start your abstract with a brief theme sentence. If you're writing something on mobile learning means, for instance, for an example I'm taking, consider that you're writing on a mobile learning. Try to write at least 2 to 3 sentences related to the mobile learning and mobile learning aspects, so that the readers can understand and easily grab the attention of the readers regarding that particular concept. So it is always important to say something about the particular area which you have selected, and you are going to give a comprehensive report or an idea in the form of a research article. So that has to be presented in 2 or 3 sentences in the beginning of the abstract. That is very important. First element. Second element, what are the main objectives or aims of particular that research paper has to be highlighted in the element 2. That should be the second element, which means it can be presented in 1 sentence or 2 sentences why you are going to present that paper, or what is the rationale of that particular study which you had already conducted. So present clearly the main purpose and the rationale of your study. That is the second element. Third element, the importance of the study. Why do you feel that the study which you had conducted was quite important? And important can be presented in terms of the study objectives, what the study represents, what it demonstrates, what it illustrates, what it depicts, what it highlights, and what conceptual model you are going to give in your paper, or else what literature review has saying about that particular study. So these are all the elements which you can consider. Sometimes you can consider one or two. It's not that every aspect has to be considered, but the very important thing is try to provide the objective of your research in that third element. So element one is the brief theme of the sentence related to your area. Second, the main aim and purpose of your research work, or else you can consider the rationale of your study. And third one is importance of the study. These are the three important elements. And the fourth one is the methodology which we have used to conduct the research work. And normally the methodology includes whether you have used a descriptive kind of a method, or an exploratory kind of a research method, or a causal comparative, whether it was a qualitative or quantitative, or a mixed kind of research method. What kind of method you used to conduct the research work, that has to be highlighted. And next, what kind of data you gathered, whether it was primary or secondary, what sample you considered, and you should mention the number of respondents, whether they were the teachers, students, or what kind of respondents you had considered. That has to be mentioned in element 4. And what technique of sampling you adopted, whether it was a probability or non-probability, and the statistical tools which you used for analyzing the data, whether it was a correlation, t-test, ANOVA, or percentage analysis, or text analysis, which analysis technique you used to analyze the data. So these are important 5 sub-elements in element 4. That is nothing but methodology which we used to conduct the research. The next element 5 is related to the main findings. What are the findings you got? What learning outcomes were there in your paper? So that has to be highlighted. That has to be summarized in 1 or 2 sentences in element 5. And element 6 is related to the statement of conclusions. What conclusions you were drawn based on your research work, and how that conclusion had contributed to the study, that contributed in filling the gaps of the literature which you have referred or reviewed. That has to be highlighted in element 6. And not only that, some of the novelties you got, some of the contribution towards the perspective of education, the research, how it is going to contribute the academicians, how it is going to help the practitioners. These are the things you have to consider in writing element 6 of the abstract. And the second and last element is how your research findings will help in giving the implications towards the education. How best your research findings will be appropriate in solving the problems, appropriate in giving a new vision to the education system or a teaching learning process. So that has to be highlighted probably in 1 sentence in element 7. So these are the 7 important elements we have to keep in mind in writing the abstracts. Once again, I will repeat those elements. The first one is the brief theme sentence, which will address the overall area so that the readers will get attention to read the entire abstract. First element. Second element, the main aim or purpose of your research, which can also be considered as rationale of the study. Third element, the importance of the study. Fourth element, the methodology which you have used in conducting the research work, maybe in terms of the kind of research work you have done, maybe the method, data, sampling technique, and statistical tools. And the element 5 is nothing but main findings which you had got for your research work that has to be highlighted. Element 6, the statement of conclusions in terms of the contributions or the novelties you have come across or you are suggesting to the fraternity. That has to be highlighted in element 6, and element 7 is related to the practical or managerial implications. That has to be highlighted. So these are the 7 important elements which we have to consider for writing any abstract. And abstract also comprises keywords. Please remember this. Many of the journals ask you to give the keywords 3 to 4, and some of the journals will ask you to present your keywords in 6 to 8. So it depends on the type of journal and the requirements. So normally you find 6 to 8 keywords that should be included after abstract. The reason why to present the keywords is they serve as the hooks to draw the attention of the readers. Not only that, these keywords will also be used to locate the articles. If you think that you are writing an article on mobile learning, means your keywords may be learning, mobile phones, ubiquitous learning, e-learning. So these are the different hooks you can give in terms of keywords. So if anybody wants to locate the journal, if anybody wants to get the articles, means naturally if they type mobile learning, means your article will be displayed to that particular receiver. So hence keywords are very, very important in locating or acting as a hooks in the research arena. So those are the very important things, and based on your research article you have to decide those keywords. And the keywords can also be included the disciplines, sub-discipline, theme, research design. If you have used causal comparative design, means you can also use the keyword as causal comparative. So like that, there are a number of options you can consider for writing the keywords. So this is about the abstract writing. So here is an example of that. If you just read it, you will come to know all the 7 elements. So element 1, just I will read out. So the title of the article is Use of Social Networks as an Education Tool. So based on that, they have written an abstract. Let me read it so that you can understand very easily. Social network, particularly Facebook, can be defined as a unique online service, platform, or area where social communication and social relations can be established and individuals intensely share information. This definition implies that communication specialists should have more expertise and interest in social media than any other group of experts. So this is related to the background of the social networks. So that is element 1. So element 2 and 3 is related with the main aim or the rationale. Based on this assumption, the present study investigated the views and attitudes of instructors in the Faculty of Communication Sciences at Anadolu University in Turkey, which is a country where the total number of Facebook users ranks 4th in the world. So they are highlighting the importance of that particular research work. Element 4, yes, the methodology. Sample of the study consisted of 67 professors with various levels of academic titles. Data were gathered through a specially designed survey from including 52 items in 4 subcategories. 5 and 6 is about the results and implications. Results suggested that 3/4 of instructors have a Facebook account and they spend less than half an hour per day on Facebook. There is no gender related difference among the faculty in terms of attitude towards Facebook. Instructors are younger than 45 years old log in Facebook on daily basis, while senior faculty log in several times a week. Finally, 2/3 of the faculty think that Facebook can provide important contributions to social interactions among students as well as to communications between instructors and students. And the last one, that's the contribution or implication they have suggested. Based on the results of this study, social networks are used actively by the instructors in the Faculty of Communication Sciences. So this is what they have studied and written in a form of an abstract, and all the elements you find in this abstract, and at the end of the abstract you find the keywords like Facebook, social networks, communication technologies, education. So 4 keywords you find here. Hope you have understood it. So this is how we have to write the abstract, and before writing it is also very important to note few points. What are those? As I have highlighted here in my previous slide, don't highlight them, which means the element 1, element 2, what I had highlighted just to give a brief idea about the abstract elements. So when you write abstracts, don't highlight them, just quite simple. And abstract is nothing but a summary of the article. So always abstract has to be written after writing the complete article. Please remember, though most of the times the research paper or journals or the workshop or the seminar and conference organizers will ask you to present your abstracts before submitting the full paper. But it is very important to write the full paper, then only you can write a good abstract, because naturally whatever the elements you have added in the paper have to be added or have to be described, have to be presented in the abstract. So this is quite natural that abstract has to be written after completion of research paper. That's quite sure. Then don't think that if something is not there in the paper, it has to be written in the abstract. No. Whatever elements you have considered, whatever things you have discussed in the research paper, that has to be reflected in the abstract. Second important. And normally, the abstracts will be written in a single paragraph most of the times. And most of the journals will ask you to present your abstracts in a single paragraph. Then abstract should not contain any figures, any tables, any text citations. Don't cite anybody or any author's name in the abstract. Abstract should not contain all these things. So these are the very important things which should help us in writing a good abstract. So those are the 7 elements we have to consider, and these are the elements we should keep in mind in writing a good abstract. And how we can write a good abstract? It requires a lot of practice. The very simple thing is, unless you practice well, you cannot perform well in producing good abstracts. So what best we can do is try to rewrite or edit the abstracts which are already there in the journals or journal articles. Take any of the journal article, read it completely, and present your own abstract to that. Then you can easily compare what elements are missing in that particular abstract, which has already been considered and published. So that comparison will help you in writing good abstract. That's one thing. Second thing, if you have already published your papers, take the same papers, consider that abstract, try to tune it, change it according to the 7 important elements. And one thing is very important for writing abstract is different kinds of research articles needs different kinds of abstracts. So as the nature of the article changes, the nature of the abstract will also change. The qualitative kind of an article abstract is little bit different than the empirical or quantitative kind of a research article. The case study article abstract is little bit change or different than the review article. So like that, but the concept and fundamental elements are same, but few of the areas you have to change according to the need of the article. So that has to be keep in mind in writing the abstracts. And the second important element I'm going to give you here is referencing, because most of the time we may write very good article, but we fail in producing good references list. So that's what we call it as referencing. Normally we produce the references at the end of the article. We all know about that. But there is a particular or a unique set of regulations we have to follow for writing those references. So that will help us in writing good research articles, because many of the times just by going through the references, the reviewers will come to know how best the article is being written. Being a reviewer, I myself do this most of the times. When I get a paper for review process, just I go through the references so that I can understand how best the paper has been written or could have been written and easily traced. So how, I will tell you in my presentation. So why referencing is important and what are the references? References are very important to acknowledge somebody's work. Think that somebody has already done some work in your area of research and you have used that researcher's ideas in your paper, in your research work. So you have to give credit to that person. So that is what acknowledging others' work. So if you write the references, it is nothing but acknowledging the others' work. Then you can respect another person's ideas also. When you are saying something about the other's views, it is nothing but your respect. You may comment it, you may accept his ideas, that is different aspect. But when you are using somebody's ideas in your paper means it is nothing but respecting others' views or ideas. So that is possible if you write good references or referencing style in your research paper. The third one is, if somebody wants to review it, somebody wants to verify it, yes, you have to give the evidence of support. So when you provide the references, naturally it leads to the evidence, so that everybody can have that paper, review that work also to know whether you have cited the right references or not. So that is what evidence of support. And fourth one is, just by reading the references list, people will be able to understand how best you have read the background, how best you have a thorough background in that particular area. So it is also very essential to say that what are the important background of study I have done to write this research article. So that's the way you have to present the list of references in the reference chapter or headings. And the next important thing is, if somebody wants to get the original source which you have cited in your research work, which you have produced in the references list, they can have it original document. So that is the reason why not only just whatever information I have referred, I am giving, I am also helping by giving the references list to others so that they can locate the material and have the content. So these are the important reasons we should give a proper list of references. And how to do it? Yes, here we have a list. There are a number of resources which we can use or refer or to cite in your articles so that the same things can be presented in the reference. What are those resources? Professional journals, published textbooks, government reports, research-backed publications, newspapers, popular magazines, or magazines you can consider, internet sources, leaflets or pamphlets, dictionaries, personal communications, social media. Nowadays, we are using more social media to disseminate the information. So, the social media information or resource can also be used in writing a research article. It may be a Facebook material, or it may be a Twitter, it may be a blog, or it may be from a YouTube. So, any of the resources can be used so that we can get the idea to write a research paper. And there are two important issues. One is referencing what we are talking about. Another important thing is plagiarism. Most of the time, we may come across the act of plagiarism in writing articles. It may be intentional or it may be unintentional, or it may be knowingly or unknowingly it happens. To avoid it, yes, the best method is referencing. Try to provide the materials which you have used for writing your research work. Yes, provide the list of all those resources in the references. If you provide it, no plagiarism at all. If you don't provide the resources which you have referred to write your article, definitely it leads to the act of plagiarism. So it's very important to note down those things actually. Plagiarism. What is a plagiarism? Deliberately using another person's ideas or work and presenting those ideas and work in your work as it's your own. Which means somebody has said something, somebody has given a definition, means without citing that person name, using that definition in your work and saying that as it yours will lead to a act of plagiarism. One kind of act. Second one, it may happen sometimes unintentional as well. You may not be knowing that exactly who has taught that, exactly who has conducted that research work, exactly who has contributed to the field. If you present it, still it is plagiarism. You have to cite it. Third one, if any quotations have been taken from others, putting it in your research article without inverted comma, please note down that. If somebody's quotations, ideas, or sayings, if you are using in your article, means you have to put it in the inverted commas. If no inverted comma, it is nothing but your own words, and it again leads to plagiarism. Next one is paraphrasing, putting it in the paragraph. I'll tell you what is paraphrasing. Phrasing in the paragraphs without acknowledging, without adding the author's name there. That is paraphrasing. It is also a kind of a plagiarism act. And idea has been used without acknowledged the original source. These are all the acts of plagiarism we have to keep in mind in writing research articles. If you cite them properly in your research articles, no plagiarism at all. And the very simple thing is, think that if you want to be non-plagiaristic in nature in writing your articles, try to give the credit to all others' views. All other views. There is slight disturbance. May I continue?
Yes, sure, sir, sure.
Okay. Okay. The very important thing you should consider is, for avoiding the plagiarism, you must give credit to others' ideas, opinions, or a theory, any facts, statistics, graphs, or drawings you are using in your article, if it has been done by, it has been contributed to others, yes, exactly write the names of those authors, and any information which is not common knowledge. Not common knowledge. Common knowledge is known to everyone actually. So the capital of India is New Delhi. It's a common knowledge. No need to cite anybody's name there. If it is not common, you have to cite the name of the author. And any quotations or paragraphs you are using, yes, you have to mention that particular name of the author. If you do it, yes, no plagiarism act at all. In any writing, it may be in thesis, it may be in article, it may be in magazine articles, or it may be in journal articles. So whenever you write something, try to give the credit to the original author by citing his name or her name in your articles. This is the very simple thing you can do to avoid the plagiarism. And strategies, as I rightly mentioned, that common knowledge, yes, doesn't require. As I rightly mentioned, Mahatma Gandhi was born in Porabandar. Everybody knows it. There is no need to cite anybody here. Common knowledge. So what is not common knowledge? Yes, facts, findings, statistics, quotes, interpretations, ideas, they are not common. For example, here, Piaget et al. In 1965 proposed that it is necessary to consider the child's ability to moral judgment instead of moral behavior or sentiments. So this has been expressed by Piaget and others. Hence it is et al. In 1965. And when you write this saying without adding the name of Piaget, you will be considered as, or your act will be considered as the plagiarism act. So if you add the name of Piaget, no plagiarism, because you're citing the original author in that particular statement. So as simple as that. And the quotations, when you use, place the double inverted comma. If you use double inverted comma, it's an indication that you have taken that saying or a quotation from somebody else. So that's what I have given an example here. In APA style, you have to cite like this. According to Mark Twain, the bracket 2005, comma, nothing so needs reforming as other people's habits. And that has been presented in page number 14 of that particular document. So this is how the quotations or the definitions have to be presented in the articles by adding their names and year of publication. And there are some more strategies to avoid plagiarism. The reason why I'm talking more about plagiarism is directly related with referencing. If your act of plagiarism is not there in your paper, means definitely your references or referencing style is good. Alright. So that's where they go hand in hand. You cannot separate plagiarism and reference style. If your reference style is good, your citation is good, there is no plagiarism. But simple. So that's the reason why we have to consider the acts of plagiarism as well. So I was talking about paraphrasing. You think that you have taken a paragraph of somebody, you have to put in your article something like this. For example, Somers 2000 states that, which means it is not your definition, it's a definition or a paragraph which you have taken from Somers, who has published something 2000. States that, put it in a double inverted comma. It is obvious that our schools must, yes, still betterment of students, close the double inverted comma, put the full stop. Or else you can also present the other's views in the form of the second paragraph. If you see the same paragraph you are putting here, but there is no inverted comma, but at the end of the sentence you have to mention the name of the author, that is Somers, put the comma, then the year, close the bracket. So both the way of presentation of paraphrasing is correct, either the first one or the second one, but not both the one. Both kind of referencing you cannot put in a single paraphrase. For example, Somers states that, and again at the end, Somers 2000 not required. Either the first one or the second one. Both are right. So this is how we have to paraphrase in our articles. Right? Paraphrasing means sometimes we think that if few of the words I can change in those original paras, few tuning I do, can I consider it as my own definition, as my own paragraph? No. Just by changing few words, just by changing few sentences in the paragraph, without changing the meaning of the sentence, if you claim that that is yours, it's wrong. So, whatever meaning a paragraph is having, suggested or described or given by an author, if you are presenting it just by changing few words and phrases, if you can claim that yours, it's wrong. Don't claim that. Still, it is the contribution of the original author. You must give credit to the original author only. So that's how paraphrasing will be done. Paraphrasing means using others' ideas, and some changes you can do, but still you have to mention the name of the original author. So if you do it, no plagiarism. If don't, definitely again that will be a plagiarism act. And sometimes people cite their own articles, their own books, their own studies, which they had published earlier. Is it right? Many people say that there is a self-plagiarism also. What is self-plagiarism? Using my own earlier ideas, which I had published in other works, which I missed to cite in my new work. Definitely that will be called as a self-plagiarism. So don't do that. Try to give the credit to your own ideas which you had published in the earlier studies, in the earlier papers. Cite your own names wherever it is required. It's not that every time you have to cite your own studies. If you feel that there is a need to cite the earlier studies which you had published, definitely you will be having a chance to do that. If you don't do, then only it is called self-plagiarism. If you do it, no issues at all. But still, there is no problem. It is you to decide whether to cite it or not to cite. And there is another important element we have to consider is some of the times we use the word references, and some of the times we use the word as bibliography in books, in some of the writings, in some of the theses. So what is the difference between references and bibliography? There is a difference. Many of the times we think that they are synonyms. No, there is a difference. References are specifically referred or cited elements, which means you have referred a set of resources or documents to write something. And whatever resources you have read, you use them in your articles and you cite them particularly. You cite them, you cite the name of the authors and present the list of those authors in the references list. That will be called as references, which means one-to-one matching should be there. The number of citations you make in the paper, the number of lists which you have to give under the reference or authors list you have to provide. So one-to-one matching should be there. But this is not in the case of bibliography. Bibliography is you think that you have got the idea from different sources and you felt that there is no need to cite them in the article or not important to cite them in the write-up which you make, but still you present that list in the bibliography heading. So that is the difference. In bibliography you won't find one-to-one matching, but in references you need to give one-to-one matching. So that is the difference between bibliography and references. But most of the times and almost 100% you find references for research articles, no bibliography. And there are a number of styles of referencing also. There are 5 important styles like APA, American Psychological Association, Harvard, MLA, Modern Language Association, Oxford and Chicago. 5 important styles we come across when we write the articles for different journals. And based on a particular element, you can classify these 5 styles. The first group of reference styles is author date styles, which means you have to mention the author name and date. Date means the year of publication. If you present it in your content of the article, that will be called the author date style, and the related styles are APA, MLA, Harvard. Documentary note, wherein you have to provide the footnotes. Footnotes probably at the end of the each page. Each page. At the bottom of the page, you just cite few of the authors' names. So that style is called documentary note styles. So there are 5 important styles. I'm not going to give you all the styles here. Just I would like to concentrate on APA because the most relevant and most commonly used style of referencing. As I rightly mentioned that it is American Psychological Association. The main purpose is consistent system. Whatever the in-text citations you find in the reference page, and it provides the avenues to follow the audience where they can investigate the sources for the valid or not, and naturally it avoids the plagiarism. And in 2019 October, the APA has introduced the 7th edition, which is the most latest, and the 6th edition was published 10 years back, that is in 2009. So based on the changes which the researchers have come across, it has edited and presented the changes in 7th edition. So that is the latest one, because in the last decade actually, the researchers starting using the references, citing the references from the internet. Most of the time they depended heavily on internet. Hence, the internet related sources have been incorporated in the 7th edition of APA, which is very extensive and exhaustive also. So I will give you a brief gist of how best the in-text citations can be made in the article and how best it has to be produced in the references list. As I rightly mentioned, it is an author date method. You have to mention the author's last name. For example, my name is Jagannath K. Dange, means I have to mention, if somebody is writing article by stating my views, means they have to mention Dange, not Jagannath, because my last name is my surname, that is Dange. And the year they have to mention. If they are taking my article in 2019, means Dange 2019 they have to mention. So here is an example, that is Jones, 1998. After the author's last name, put the comma, I present the year, put it in the inverted, in a bracket. This is how we can cite. As I write, I had given an example, how to paraphrase the author. You can put the author name in a bracket para and continue it, or else in a bracket at the end you put the author name, comma, followed by year. So this is how we have to present the in-text citations. We call it as in-text citations. So here is an example you will come to know. So social competency refers to that an innovative teacher should have the ability to communicate with students from different backgrounds. In the bracket, it has been mentioned that Koster et al. Full stop, comma, 2005, which means the statement has been taken from the source which has been produced by Koster et al. In 2005. So this is how the in-text citations can be made. Quotations. Example is here actually. According to Jones, as I told, see, when you take the saying of a Jones, means Jones, in a bracket you put the year in which the document was published. So Jones 1998, comma, again continue the statement. Students often had difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. So put it in the double inverted comma followed by page number. In a bracket, page number, if it is only one page, P dot 199. If it is more than one, put the page ranges PP, 199 to 201. This is how you can present. That is one way of presenting in-text citation. The second one is Jones 1998 found. See, according to Jones is one form of presentation in-text citation. Second one, Jones 1998 found, students often again say, page 99. In continuation, you can say, what implications does this have for teachers? See, the first sentence is related to Jones, but second sentence is yours. You are asking to the readers, what implications does this have for teachers? So this is how the in-text citations can be made. If the quotations are long, if more than 40 words, you have to frame something like that. I'm talking about in-text citations. When you cite a author in your text, in your complete the sentence and put the page number. Where the double inverted comma is not required if it is more than 40 words. If it is below 40 words, you have to put those words in the double inverted comma. Quite simple. Yes. Whereas references citation, which or Dange and Equote in a bracket 2020 argued that. So both the way of presentation is okay. No problem at all. And when the same thing we put it in the references at the end, and always references will be presented in alphabetical manner. The first should come A, then B, C, like that. So in alphabetical manner, you have to present the list of references which you have referred. So that is in the reference list. And if three or more authors, no need to add all the names of the authors. What you have to do, up to 2 authors, it is okay. Put the surnames of both authors followed by year. If the 3 author or more than 3 authors, just put the name of the first author followed by et al. Et al means et alia, which means and others. And others. Here is an example. Wang J, Litma A, and Joseph D. There are 3 authors here. And when you cite in the text, no need to cite all the names, all the 3 names. Just say Wang et al. 1996. This is a simple form of citation in the text. Sometimes you have to cite the names of the authors. Their names may be same. Same author, for example, same author, same year. You think that in a year of 2012, the same author has produced 2 articles, and you are taking those 2 articles and citing in your paper. How to do it? It is a difficult task. As I mentioned that the surname of the author to be cited with the year. Here, if you cite the same thing, which is a replica, Judge and Kamier Muller 2012 and 2002 articles have been presented, means you cannot cite the same names twice. Instead of that, you put them a lowercase letter. You add a lowercase letter to it actually. 2012 A, 2012 B, so that the readers can easily understand which is A and which is B document. So in the references, for the first reference you give A, in the second reference you give B in the bracket. That's all. A very simple thing. Right? Hardly we get such instances. If you get it, put the lowercase letter after the year. That's all. Very simple. Sometimes authors with same surname, like here, J. Taylor and Niemeyer is one paper which I have referred, and second one G. Taylor. Taylor is two different tailors, but surname is same. What you have to do here, try to use the initials. Initials means the complete initials. Don't add Taylor and Taylor. Instead of that, add the initial, that is James and John. So here easily you can differentiate who is the first author and who is the second author. So this is how we have to cite the names of the authors in the text. Again, hardly such instances we may come across. Sometimes see that you have not read an article or a source and you are citing it. Don't do that. Only cite the references, those you have read it, those you have clearly understood, read it, followed it. So sometimes what happens, think that you have used somebody, you have read some article, and in that article, that author has cited somebody according to so and so, which means the third author. So what you have to do, you have to cite the article which you have read, not the third person article. So always remember that whatever we read, whatever we consult the resources, those resources only have to be mentioned in the references list, and we have to cite in the article. That is another formula. If some personal communications you have done, you have met somebody, you have written a letter, you have emailed somebody and got the responses or the views from somebody, means definitely you can add them in your articles, but don't write their names in the references because they are not recoverable. Nobody can validate that. So that's the reason why whenever we come across the personal communication, we will be having an opportunity to mention the author name there. For example, J.K. Dange personal communication, August 8. Mention the date also. On which date you communicated, in which year. So J.K. Dange personal communication, August 8, 2019. Or in a bracket, put the whole sentence and put the in the bracket you mention J. Dange, comma, personal communication, comma, February 24, 2020. So this is how you will be having an opportunity to cite the personal communication as well. Next important thing is digital object identifier. This is very important nowadays because for every online content, even for published content, you will be having a DOI, digital object identifier. It's a unique alphanumeric string wherein you find the alpha numbers also as well as the alphabets. So hence it is called unique alphanumeric string. That string has to be added where in the reference, so that if somebody clicks that, somebody visits that content or clicks that, definitely that will be routed to the original document. So that is the reason why we have to present digital object identifier wherever it is available. That's a very simple thing. And another important thing is uniform resource locator, URL, what we call it. So it is normally started with HTTP colon and the link. If somebody clicks it, again directly it will be routed to the original address, okay, which normally we find in the internet browsers, okay, which is found in the internet browsers. So these are the two important things which have been recently added. The reason why I'm telling you is, if you provide as number of as digital object identifiers and uniform resource locators, it is an indication that you are more authentic. Anybody can review the references. Anybody can verify your views, whatever you have presented in your paper. So keep in your mind that these are the very important things which you have to present in the references. So how it will be presented, I'll tell you. Examples. I was talking about the databases. Digital object objects, if you want to find out, means they are in the databases. We call them as the research databases. Normally the Sinhal, eBook Central, EBSCOhost, Google Scholar, Jester, Medline, and Science Direct. These are few of the databases wherein we found the DOIs. And for URLs, yes, hyperlink will be there always when you present a URL. And in earlier, we used to present it in the form of retrieved from, accessed from. So now it is not required. the APA style has removed that word retrieved from accessed from. The reason why is when you put the URL, naturally it's an indication that it has to be accessed, it has to be retrieved. So no need to put those words right now, according to the 7th manual. If you have referred a book without DOI, if it is in a print version, means the format is, yes, first the author name, author AA. So this is about the references list I'm talking about. Citation, I told that author name followed by year. Citation. So how you present in the references? Yes, author, comma, which means again the surname followed by initials. If it is one initial, put one initial. If it is two initials, put two initials. For example, Dange, comma, JK. If I take my own example, Dange is my surname, Jagannath is my name, K is my father name. So Dange, comma, JK, author name. Year 2020. If I something you are referring 2020 documents, 2020 in a bracket, followed by full stop. Title of the book should be in a italic form. Title of the book, followed by full stop and publisher. So earlier we used to present the name of the publishing place as well, New Delhi, Bangalore, but now it is not required. Publisher is enough. No need to put the name of the place the document has been published. So no place name, only publisher. So the reference is Lloyd Owen, BA, 2018. Again, the title of the book is Smart Water Technologies and Techniques, Data Capture and Analysis for Sustainable Water Management, which is in the italic form. John Williamson is a publisher. And how to cite it, as I already mentioned, according to Lloyd Owen in 2018, comma, page number, if it is page number, if you are very confirmed. Or else you can also cite like this, Lloyd Owen, comma, 2019, comma, page 2. So both the way of presentation is okay. This is for book without DOI. If it is DOI, just add the DOI, that's all, after publishing. Very simple. Again, author in bracket here, full stop, followed by title of the book in italics, publisher, full stop, then add the DOI link, digital object identifier. Very simple. And we find a reference here also. Example, same thing. Cameron Smith A, 2019, name of the title of the book, and publisher is Australian National University Press, followed by DOI. And citation according to Cameron Smith 2010, page number 17, or Cameron Smith 2019, page number 17. If it is a book edition other than first, means there are number of editions we get, second, third, fourth editions. So how to cite? Yes, format is author again, AA, and author BB, if two authors are there, followed by year, title of the book again in the italic form, but in the bracket you should mention the edition, which means it is a second edition. Second, ED means edition, followed by publisher. So no commas. So after year, everything is full stops. That's all. References, here you find Maria BN and ONK 2016, Human Anatomy and Physiology is the title of the book, and the book which I had referred was 10th edition, followed by Pearson. Pearson is a publisher. If it is an edited book with the DOI, same thing again, add the same thing and include the digital object identifier. That's all. Same. If it is a book, and if you have used any other language book, for example, I know Kannada, you may not be knowing Kannada. If I am writing something and presenting it references means, I have to mention both the names, Kannada book name as well as the translation one. So like same author, AA means first author and second author, author BB, followed by year, title of the book, again in italic form, the original one, I'm telling you, original Kannada book which I had referred, I have to present it in the title of the book, and in bracket I have to present the translation of that particular title. translation has to be presented. Something like this here. See here, two examples I had given. One is Molinari E and Lavella A 2007. The original book is in the French language. And in bracket you find clinical psychology, dialogue and confrontation. The English translation of that, and the publisher is Springer. And same thing you can cite the names in the text. If some manual you have used, which is in the print form, again author and publisher are same, means omit the publisher. Any one of the name is enough. Sometimes it happens. Some manuals will be published by author and who is himself a publisher. So here is an example. Brothers Industries. They are the authors as well as the publishers. So just cite or just present the name of the author. That's all. ND means no date. If there is no particular date for that, always in that paragraph present as N.D. which means no date. There is no date for that, confirmed date. Okay. If manual which is presented in, which is there in online, quite naturally you have to mention the online link. That's all. Very simple. So an example is World Health Organization has released a manual in 2019, and the manual title is International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems. And 11th edition was there, and followed by online access. Very simple. Dictionaries, encyclopedias, yes, the best example is Merriam-Webster. Okay, Merriam-Webster, full stop, 2019, if you're using it, 2019 edition, full stop, Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, the complete name of that actually, and you have followed the 11th edition. So edition should come at the end. And you can cite Merriam according to Merriam Dictionary 2009. Okay, so this is how you can write references and citations for dictionaries as well. And the very important thing is, if it is online, you have to mention the date and month. Very important. Not just 2019. When you are using online means it may change and it may update sometimes. So hence it is very essential to add when you had retrieved it. So a reference online example is Merriam-Webster. ND means no date, because when dictionaries will be updated means you cannot give the exact date of that. So hence Merriam-Webster.com dictionary, which was retrieved November 28, 2019 from the particular website. So this is how you can present it in the references type. If it is an edited book, very simple, everything is same. Author A. Author A means think that you have presented an article in an edited book. You present your name, year, followed by the title of your article, which means chapter. You have to present your chapter name here. Then you mention the editor's name. So editor will not come directly in the references. The author will come, which means the credit must give to the author, then we give it to the editors. So author, year, title of the chapter, then you mention the editor, and title of the book should be in italic form. Always this you remember. When you mention the name of the book, either it may be a book or an edited book, you should present it in the references in an italic form. Then you mention the edition with page numbers. And here is an example for that. And if it is having a DOI, just mention the DOI at the end. That's all. Nothing much change in that. And here is a very important thing. Most of the time we refer the journal in online form, which is having DOI. So the very important thing we should remember here is the capitalization of the article title is important when you present in the references. Capitalize the important words or the first word of the journal name, and italicize the journal title and volume number. Two important. In the book, we have to present the title of the book in italic form. For the journal title or the journal name and volume number must be present in the italic forms. Okay, and example is format author A and author B and author C. The authors are there. Here you present title of the article. Yes, same thing, no italic at all. But title of the periodical must be presented in italic form, followed by the volume. If it is one page range means PP. Page range followed by DOI. Same thing again. So references you have to present something like this. And journal with URL, that is for DOI. This is for URL. If it is URL, again present the same thing except that last element. In the earlier slide, you had presented the DOI. Here you present the URL link. That's all. Everything is same. If you are referring any magazine article, yes, you can cite it in the article and present it in the references also. But here, both month and date should be included after the year. That is very important because every magazine will come on monthly basis sometimes, and even when you referred it, that date should also be mentioned because when it is online. So the reference is Joseph P 2019 November 29. It was referred, and the title of the article was Illuminating Earth's Faults. Science was the name of the magazine, which is followed by the number. So this is how we can cite the magazine article also. Newspaper article, again same thing. Month and date should be included in that. Okay, you can refer any of the newspapers which are there in the online as well, but online must be cited here. Cited means you have to show the link at the references. And some of the legislations, acts and regulations can also be cited. If it is there in the online, just mention it. That's all. The title of the act, year enacted, followed by the link. References, you have to cite something like Resource Management Act. That was the act referred, but there is no comma between act and year. Don't put the comma in between. But earlier, they had to put comma for all the things. Okay. So here, not required. Resource Management Act 1991, complete. Then full stop followed by the online link. That's all. And in the citation, you can say that according to the Resource Management Act 1991, there is. You can continue something like that. And paper presentations, now it is possible. You can cite the paper presentations also. Example, yes, Canstein and C and Madam Scale. 2019 was the year they have presented the paper, November 18 to 20. So in those 3 days, the conference was organized or they made the presentation. What was the title of the article? The glasses are on, implementing augmented reality and virtual reality from an educator's perspective. So that was the paper presentation. You should mention that it is a paper presentation in bracket. Followed by Australasian Nurse Educators Conference. That was the name of the conference, and which was happened in Dunedin Place, New Zealand. So this is how you can put the names of the paper presenters in the reference list also. So citation is almost same. Carstensen and Madden 2009, whatever they say. Just few things I'll complete. If you are using unpublished dissertation or thesis are submitted, isn't it? Hard copy is there in the library, but they have not published, means still you will be having a chance to cite it and refer it. Example, Knight A, author 2001, they have submitted the thesis to the university, and the title is Exercise and Osteoarthritis. Title, Unpublished Master's Dissertation. You have to mention in the bracket what kind of research or what level they had done, and they had submitted it to Auckland University of Technology. And Auckland is a place, New Zealand country. And this is how you can refer and cite the unpublished dissertation thesis also. If it is in a database, still it is easy. Databases are focused. There are a lot of dissertation and doctoral databases. You can rightly mention them. And if they are online in the repositories, nowadays UGC is having a lot of theses in the form of Shodhganga repository, isn't it? You can cite directly, like the name, again the title of the research work, where they have submitted, and in which database it is there. And you can also present the link of the database or a website where it is present. And this is for social media. So very new aspect added in that 7th volume. There are some social medias where people can view, add their views, comment, write something. So being researchers, we will be having a good opportunity to read and add those views in our articles. But the very important thing is how to cite them and put in the references. The best way is you have to mention the author, mention the year, mention the month, as well as the date. So date, month, year, author, as well as format. Format means whether they have presented and whether they have tweeted it, presented it in the Facebook, or they had presented in the blog, where they have presented. So that has to be mentioned in the references, as well as they can be cited in the text. So that is that. So for example, Facebook, if you have referred someone's Facebook, if you have referred and you have added those views in your article, means you can put references something like that. That is Invercargill City Council. There is date is no date actually about Invercargill City Council. That was the Facebook page which you have referred, which you retrieved on November 29, 2019 from the Facebook. So this is how the detailed information can be presented in the references. When you use Facebook, when you use Instagram, when you use Twitter. So all possibilities are there now to cite anybody's ideas from any sources. If you are using a computer software, we have a chance again. Same thing. Computer software can be used. Mobile application can also be used and cited in the article. Very few cases we do, but still there is a possibility. And not only that, if you have viewed any movie or a video and you felt that the views are very important, which you want to be included in your article, still there is a chance. But the very important thing is natural citation is there. The author's name, or one author, two author means naturally we can cite them in the article. But more than two means naturally it comes at all. But the references is little bit different here. What is that? For example, Zanuck R.D. and Brown T. Those two people are the producers of that film or video. So we have to mention whether they are the producers or directors. Producers. And Spielberg, yes, who was the director of the film. So which means when you use a film's idea, you have to mention both producers and directors' names. And followed by the year 1975, the film was Jaws. You have to mention it was a motion picture, and Universal Pictures were the producers. So this is how you can list the film and videos references also under the reference heading. And television series, very unique actually. Again, here you have to mention just the producer name, that's all. So which means television movies, television serials, YouTube videos, everything can be used. And not only that, even musical ones can also be used. And PowerPoint presentations can also be used. Podcasting, audio casting. And last thing is, I will just, highlight this PowerPoint. Nowadays, we use more PowerPoints to prepare our PPTs for presentation, for preparation, anything, isn't it? So nowadays, there are a lot of websites we have. SlideShare is one such website. If you have downloaded any PowerPoint presentation and added those views in your article, then you can cite like House and B 2019, Superheroes and the Gifted. That was the title of the PowerPoint. You have to mention the PowerPoint slides. Where you have taken from SlideShare, and followed by the address of that particular slide. So this is how the whole works which we refer, we can put under the references list now. This is very exhaustive one. This is the last element we have to mention. I have to mention is, if think that there are till 20 authors. You can list out all the authors' name in the references. Very unique case. Some paper you have referred and you find that there are 20 authors. Till 20 it is okay. If it is 21, no need to write all the names there. What you have to do means till 19, you have to mention the names of all the authors. From 19, after 19 to last author, you have to put a dash in double inverted comma. Put the dash after 19th author in double inverted comma, followed by the last author. Followed by the last author. Okay. So this is how we can present and put it in the references list. So earlier it was just 7 authors. Now they changed it into till 19th author. Okay. So this is how we can follow the references listing in the reference heading, and actually it requires a lot of practice. Unless you practice how to write the in-text citation and references, you will not going to learn it so easily. So what it requires is just the practice. Take an example of every kind of references and write by your own. Then only you will be understand very easily how to write the references in a more particular manner, more correct manner. And if you write correctly in the references list, if you provide, and the same things you cite in your articles, definitely there is no need to fear about plagiarism. So this is the thing I would like to highlight to. I feel it is a real heavy concept, as I can say. I can understand it is not easy to grasp all the things in a single hour. But what else we can do is, however, I will forward this PPT to you so that the organizers will share that PPT. And even it is also available in the slide share also. You just type my name in the slide share and the PPT will get it. You can use it for practicing the different kinds of writing references according to the 7th edition of PPT. And I'll stop my presentation here. I think I have taken 20 minutes more.